Every expert on the planet missed this. One morning, every single insect on Earth simply vanished. The silence was deafening, but nobody knew that the worst part was still coming. And what you're about to find out is why this terrifying event would unravel civilization itself, far faster than anyone imagined. The world woke up, no buzzing, no chirping, just an eerie, profound quiet. Within hours, the first signs of collapse appeared. Bees, butterflies, and all other pollinators were gone. Millions of flowering plants, responsible for our fruits and vegetables, could not reproduce. Farmers stood in their fields, confused. Their crops, once vibrant, began to wither. This wasn't a drought or a pest outbreak, this was something far more fundamental. What could they do? By day 2, grocery store shelves for fresh produce were empty globally. Bananas, apples, tomatoes, all gone. The world's intricate food supply chain had collapsed instantly. It was a terrifying what if made real. Scientists frantically analyzed the data. They confirmed it: a total, global insect extinction. This was the silent, invisible force that had powered Earth's ecosystems, and now it was gone. Emergency government meetings convened worldwide. Leaders grappled with an unprecedented crisis. Food security was collapsing. The realization dawned: humanity was facing an impossible problem. The world woke up to a food crisis that dwarfed all previous disasters. No fresh produce, rapidly dwindling grains. The initial shock gave way to widespread fear, and the next wave of destruction was already building. Within the first week, the second wave of impact hit. Birds, bats, frogs, and lizards, all dependent on insects for food, began to starve en masse. The silence deepened. The world's waste management system completely broke down. Without decomposers like dung beetles and termites, dead organic matter piled up. Forests became a massive, rotting mess. The accumulated dead plant matter turned forests into tinderboxes. Massive, unstoppable wildfires erupted globally, spewing toxic smoke. The air quality plummeted. There was no escaping the devastation. Soil health plummeted rapidly. Without insects to aerate and cycle nutrients, the ground became lifeless. Compacted dirt, farming, even for non-pollinated crops, became impossible. And here's the part that sounds made up: with normal decomposition halted, strange, sticky fungal growths and bizarre molds began to appear everywhere. They covered everything, a new, sickening landscape. Water quality degraded rapidly. Insect larvae, crucial for filtering water, were gone. Massive algal blooms choked rivers and lakes. Drinking water became scarce and dangerous. Freshwater ecosystems collapsed. Fish populations, deprived of insect food sources and living in toxic water, perished en masse. The oceans would be next to feel the ripple effect. Global food reserves dwindled at an alarming rate. Meat production suffered as livestock feed became scarce and contaminated. The illusion of endless abundance shattered. The decay was everywhere: rotting food waste, fallen leaves, even animal carcasses. Without insects to break it down, the stench became overwhelming. Cities started to choke. Livestock began to die from malnutrition and poisoned water. The few remaining animals were too precious to slaughter, yet too expensive to feed. The food chain was unraveling. Cities, once bustling, grew quiet. The fear of starvation drove people to desperate measures. Supermarket shelves remained bare. The illusion of safety inside urban centers faded quickly. The first major protests and civil unrest erupted. People demanded food, answers, and solutions. Governments struggled to maintain order. The fabric of society began to tear. What I haven't told you yet is the part that makes everything worse. This wasn't just about food, it was about the very air we breathe, the water we drink, and the ground we walk on. Mass migrations began on an unprecedented scale. Millions fled collapsed cities, hoping to find food in rural areas, but the countryside offered no refuge from the silent extinction. Global famine was officially declared. Billions were affected. The human population, once thriving, faced unimaginable suffering. The numbers were staggering, yet the world remained eerily silent. Human waste disposal became a nightmare. Without insects like flies and dung beetles to assist in decomposition, sanitation systems failed. Disease spread like wildfire. Disease outbreaks accelerated, fueled by poor sanitation, contaminated water, and extreme malnutrition. Old diseases returned, new ones emerged. Hospitals were overwhelmed, then abandoned. Governments collapsed under the insurmountable pressure. Civil order disintegrated. The machinery of civilization ground to a halt. It was every person for themselves. People resorted to eating anything they could find, often consuming toxic plants or contaminated scraps. Sickness and death became commonplace. Survival was a daily battle. The air itself began to feel different, heavy, still, with an almost metallic, acrid taste. The vibrant hum of life was replaced by an oppressive silence. Every breath felt like a reminder of what was lost. Desperate attempts at artificial pollination began, but hand-pollinating crops on a global scale was impossible. It was too slow, too labor-intensive, too expensive, a futile effort. Even the oceans, initially spared, began to feel the terrestrial collapse. Runoff from dying land, massive algal blooms, and a disrupted food chain meant marine life was slowly dying too. The smell of decay became overwhelming. It hung in the air, a constant reminder of the planet's slow death. The very atmosphere was thick with the scent of organic matter returning to dust. The human population dwindled rapidly. What started as a silent extinction of insects had become a global catastrophe. Billions perished from starvation, disease, and conflict. The last few pockets of humanity faced a stark choice: succumb to the inevitable or find a way to survive on a planet that no longer supported life as they knew it. The future seemed hopeless. Earth's surface transformed into a barren, silent landscape. The vibrant ecosystems were gone. The planet was now a mausoleum, a testament to what happens when the smallest creatures vanish. But humanity, against all odds, did not give up. Scientists worked tirelessly in secure bunkers, racing against time. Could gene editing or synthetic biology provide an answer? And then, a bizarre discovery: deep underground, in a thermally active cave, a hidden pocket of insects had survived, a tiny, vibrant ecosystem, untouched by the global catastrophe. This was it, the last hope, a desperate plan to clone, breed, and reintroduce insects from these protected zones. It was an undertaking of unimaginable scale and complexity. The sheer scale of the reintroduction effort seemed impossible: billions of insects, trillions of eggs. How could humanity rebuild an entire ecosystem, one tiny creature at a time? And here's the part that's truly sobering: even with success, it would take decades, perhaps centuries, for ecosystems to begin to recover. This was no quick fix. This was a generational project. Humanity learned a hard lesson: the true, immeasurable value of the smallest creatures. They were not just bugs, they were the silent engineers of our world, the foundation of all life. A new generation grew up knowing only a broken world. They became the caretakers, meticulously nurturing tiny biodomes, slowly expanding the reach of life. Hope, painstakingly cultivated. The slow, painstaking process of ecological restoration began. Every tiny insect, every new plant, was a victory. The world was still scarred, but it was no longer silent. The world would never be the same, but a new understanding emerged: the profound interconnectedness of all life. A future, hard one, lay ahead, still fragile but no longer hopeless. The silent extinction is a warning. These tiny giants are disappearing now, silently. We must protect them, understand them, and ensure they continue their vital work. Our very existence depends on it.